Morning, everybody, and welcome to day 79 of 100 Days to Life-Changing Confidence. This morning's first passage will be in Esther chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. If y'all are ready, let's get started. Let's see where we're headed. Okay. And the word says, he sent back this answer. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent, For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Our first scripture summary this morning comes from Esther chapter 4, verse 14. And I wrote down, God brought Esther through this challenge as a Jewish woman. If Esther can do all of these things while being a Jewish woman in biblical times, of all places, then what is he preparing us to do? We need to be prepared and ready at all times. I don't know what he's preparing you to do specifically, but I've noticed, excuse me one second. I've noticed in my most recent walk, he has been preparing me to keep a cleaner home and take better care of myself for future purposes. I'm not going to say them on camera because they're personal to me, but he has been preparing me to take better care of myself. So therefore, I will do what the Lord asks. Let's move on to Esther chapter 7. Let's continue, shall we? So the king and Haman went to Queen Esther's banquet, and they were drinking wine. And as they were drinking wine on the second day, the king again asked, Queen Esther, what is your petition? It will be given to you. What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be granted. The Queen Esther answered, if I have found favor with you, your majesty, and if it pleases you, grant me my life. This is my petition, and spare my people. This is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. If we had merely been sold as male and female slaves, I would have kept quiet. But no such distress would justify disturbing the king. King Xerxes asked Queen Esther, "Who is he? Where is he? The man who has dared such a thing?" Esther said, "An adversary and an enemy, this vile Haman." Then Haman was terrified before the king and queen. The king got up in a rage, left his wine, and went out into the palace garden. But Haman, realizing that the king had already decided his fate, stayed behind to beg Queen Esther for his life. Just as the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet hall, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was reclining. The king exclaimed, "Will he even..." Ooh, you gotta keep reading that. The king exclaimed, "Will he even molest the queen while she is with me in the house?" As soon as the word left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Then Harbona, one of the eunuchs attending the king, said, "A pole reaching to a height of 50 cubits stands by Haman's house. He set it up for Mordecai, who spoke up to help the king." The king said, "Impale him on it." So they impaled Haman on the pole he had set up for Mordecai. The king's fury subsided. Okay, let's digest that for a minute. I don't have a scripture summary in place. I don't feel that there needs to be one, because in my opinion, not every part of the Bible needs to be highlighted. But let's talk about this. It says in the Bible that the king was going to molest Esther, and she just got out of it. First off, molestation is illegal. I don't agree with it as a Christian female myself. And neither should anybody. It's illegal no matter what you believe in, but certainly as a Christian. But because it's in the Bible, it was in this morning's passage, I had to continue reading it out loud, and I should have put a disclaimer before I read it, but I didn't. So if that made y'all uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but sometimes the passages that I will read are not for the faint at heart. So here's the summary. Esther got her freedom back, and Mordecai did as well. And I'm assuming the king got what he deserved at this point, because no one, whether in biblical times or today times, no one should be at the hands of molestation. I'm sorry. That's just rude and hurtful. I'm not going to ask if y'all enjoyed this message, because sometimes the Bible speaks truth and it's mean and hurtful. So I'm just going to see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.